The Lincoln Police Department is investigating after a man took his own life while in police custody, and it is a standard practice for incidents of this nature that we are handling that investigation. On Sunday, November 9th, around 8 p.m., officers responded to a disturbance at a home in the area of South 54th and Meredeth Streets in Southeast Lincoln. 45-year-old Eleazar Oceguera of Lincoln was reported to be having a mental health crisis. When officers arrived, he was attempting to enter a home through a basement window. Oceguera was handcuffed and placed into custody. He was searched by officers before being placed in the back of a cruiser. And I do have images that I want to share with you to help walk through what this looked like. So this is an image taken immediately after he is taken into custody. As you can see, he has his hands behind his back and officers have applied handcuffs. This is after we have walked to the cruiser, still clearly in handcuffs, and they are going to begin the search process of his person. So you can see here on this side, this officer is it's on his right side, is beginning to search on the right side of his body. On the left side of his body, you can see here that there is a pocket out because we have searched that area of his person, again, after he had been placed in handcuffs and was at the cruiser. This is a little bit harder to see, but we are down at his feet at this point in time, and we are checking the sock and shoe area on the pant side of his legs. Here we highlighted, you can see that we actually pulled the sock out to make sure that there was nothing inside of the sock. And this is, we're going down to the other side of his legs, and then I think we have one more where you can see that we've actually pulled his pant leg up so we could visualize and see his leg at that point in time, trying to ensure that he didn't have anything that he had tucked away in his socks, lower part of his pants, or his shoes before placing him in the back of the cruiser. After he was placed in the back of the cruiser, the officers began interviewing witnesses, including a woman who drove up to the scene and was known to Oceguera, and they were evaluating the need to place the man into emergency protective custody. It was during that time that he used a firearm that was in his possession to shoot himself around 8:45 p.m. He was able to move his hands that were handcuffed behind him to the front of his body where he pulled the firearm from inside his pants. And again, have some more photos taken from body-worn camera to show you what this looks like. So this photo here, per our policy, that's okay. They're actually double locking those handcuffs per our policy, but they're behind his back as he's sitting in there. We do that as if they lean back on them, it creates pressure. If they're not double locked, it can close the handcuffs even further, causing discomfort and sometimes cut off circulation. So we double lock those to prevent that from occurring. And here he is in the back. You can see his hands are behind him, handcuffed as he's seated in the cruiser. And then this is the process that he takes as he is working his arms, again, hands still handcuffed to the front side of his body. It was a little bit harder, but he is now about at his feet. There we go, that's a clearer picture. As he's maneuvering his arms to the front side of his body. Okay.
And then here's the final image.
And the final image that we wanted to show you here, this is the firearm that he was able to locate on his body that officers had missed in the search. And that's the only photo that we're going to show you that he had it in his hand at that point in time. So despite immediate life-saving efforts by our officers, they had immediately pulled him out of the cruiser where they started rendering aid. And our partners with Lincoln Fire and Rescue arrived on scene, ultimately transported to the hospital where medical professionals still continued to work on him, and he eventually passed away at 9:30 p.m. Our thoughts are with his loved ones during this difficult time. We're very grateful that no officers were injured during this call for service, or any of our community members, such as the home that he was trying to enter, or the female who stopped by, and we were interviewing in very close proximity to the cruiser. The officer whose cruiser in which this occurred has been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of our investigation, as is required by LPD general orders. Some of the general orders that I want to talk about just very briefly with you, General Order 1540, that addresses search of persons and vehicles. It is not public facing, and we have not faced that publicly due to it containing investigatory processes that we believe with public knowledge could impede the effectiveness of our ability to conduct investigations and potentially jeopardize officer safety. But I will share a few elements of that policy with you. What that policy says is officers may search people in multiple circumstances, including when someone is taken into custody. The scope of that search is to include their persons, including a frisk and examination of pockets, baggage, or other items in their possession. The officers in this instance followed policy by handcuffing and searching Oceguera, including double locking, but unfortunately missed this gun. General Order 1550 is public facing, talks about the use of handcuffs, which again is available on our public homepage. The officers followed policy by placing him in handcuffs behind the back, palms out, and double locked. We will not be releasing video. That video is a video of a man where it took his own life. And our thoughts are going to continue to be with the Oceguera family during this horrific tragedy. And it would be incredibly disrespectful to their loved ones to publicize his last moments. He was a son, he was a father and a partner, and he was clearly suffering. It was traumatizing for those officers on scene and would be for anyone who would watch it, and quite frankly, it's simply unnecessary. I've watched the body camera and the cruiser camera several times from this incident, and I can say that our officers treated Oceguera with kindness and patience as they tried to help him by placing him in emergency protective custody, with the goal of connecting him to the resources that he needed. We do want to remind the public that various mental health resources are available in the community, including 988 Crisis Lifeline, that's available 24/7. We also do have our co-responders that I will mention that had ended their shift prior to this incident, so they were not available.